here we are, friends, really ready to start this live feed covering the potentially hazardous asteroids 1998 HOR2. I'm just checking that the system, the broadcast is performing as expected, and it should be just looking my checking here. It should be working. Just a couple minutes more to be honestly sure that all is running as we want. I see that there are really many people, and I'm happy that all the people here want to learn more about these very truly fascinating objects. And I think that it is really time to start for us. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Gianluca Masi speaking from the Virtual Telescope Project in Italy. I am in Rome right now. I am an astrophysicist, and asteroids are my main research topic. So I'm happy to be here to share the beauty of these objects. Before we start observing this object, before we go to check about the weather, I want to apologize if yesterday we could not run our live feed because we wanted, but we had plenty of clouds there, and despite the technology, when it is cloudy, we, the astronomers, can do just one thing: going to bed, just to take some rest after our sleepless night. And I also want to remember that this, the project, the Virtual Telescope Project, which I have the honor to represent, being its scientific director, acknowledges some very important partners, technological partners, and they are Unitron Italia Instruments, Software Bisque and C-Web, as well as Planewave Instruments, Santa Barbara Instrument Group and Bader Planetarium. I also want to thank all the international media which supported this event and making possible for more than 500,000 people joining our website over the last 20 hours, more or less. I hope that the weather will be with us tonight. Well, the weather is better, significantly better than yesterday, but you know, when you have to do these things, Murphy is always out there. I want to say one thing: this asteroid is already leaving, and if you were worried without reasons actually about this asteroid, you know that your worries were basically false, because we knew that the asteroid was approaching us, but it was staying very far away from us, more than 16 times the average lunar distance. So we knew they were more than 6 million kilometers, really a lot. And we knew that nothing was going to happen, but a lot of people, I don't know why, were really worried, and now they can understand that they had nothing to be worried about. And I hope that next time you will not be worried with this kind of objects, with asteroids. So I want to try to start to use the telescope as soon as possible, because I really don't know how long, if and when the weather will be good. I had to say that in Italy we had the sunset just 40 minutes ago, so the sky is still bright, but again, I really want to try to do all our, to exploit all our chances to be sure that we really see the object. By the way, this is the telescope I'm really going to use with you, and I want to see if I can show the telescope also in its real conditions, because of course this is an image, but with some luck I can show you the telescope. And by the way, let me show you the console that from this very moment will be the main, the main actor of this journey. Here it is, friends. We are now connected to the telescope. The telescope is about 90 kilometers away from me. I am in Rome. The telescope is 90 kilometers south of Rome, and here you can see in the light of twilight the telescope, which is already pointed in the right position, in the right direction. I will tell you a bit more about this, but as you can see, there is still some scattered light all around. It is not broad night, so I have to check this and understand how much this can limit our observing, but I'm confident that if the weather at least is clear, we can see something. That said, I want to show you where the asteroid is now in the sky. As I told you, it is already leaving, but as it was gently approaching and it is gently leaving, it is more or less at a similar distance, 6 plus something millions of kilometers away. And here it is where we are. Look at this map, friends. It is just a simulation of the night sky, of the sky just above the observatory, okay? And you can see on the bottom part of this reference, these red, yellow circles, it is where the object is and where the telescope is pointing right now. I checked the weather, and the weather was 50% clear, 50% cloudy, and of course, guess where the clouds were? Of course, in the south direction, where the asteroid is right now. But I want to take just a very quick image to see if we see something or if the sky is still too much bright. In this case, we have to wait for a few minutes and I will tell you more about this asteroid. Otherwise, if we can see something, as I hope, I will start just our observing as soon as possible. Perhaps we have something. I'm just asking the telescope to refine the pointing. And I also want to prepare to acquire images here. Oh, I apologize, because of course here we are. And let me ask the telescope to track the object, because I'm very confident that the asteroid is here, just the one in the very center of the crosshair. Now I start taking images, but we are already seeing it. Let me take a 10 seconds image just to be sure that we have something, because when clouds are around you have to rush, and at least I want to take something before using this time to talk. Let me see what will happen now with this image, if the parameters I'm using are good or not. And we have an image here, and from the shadow I see in the background, I can really understand that we have some clouds around, but here it is, friends, the asteroid. Well, I guess this is the asteroid. How I can understand if this is the real asteroid? Because seconds after image after image, the asteroid, it is moving, and so this dot of light should move across the sky, and the stars you see around should move, because the telescope is actually tracking, okay, the asteroid. And look here, the stars are moving while the asteroid is still here. So this is the real object. But let me do something. I'm happy that we are just observing this object together live. So friends, in the center of the crosshair, please see the potentially hazardous asteroid 1998 OR2 shared live thanks to the Virtual Telescope project technology in central Italy. And this is the asteroid, friends. The potentially hazardous asteroid we have been talking a lot about, and a lot of people, as I told you, were really worried without reasons. Now I asked the telescope to take a longer exposure, and we are collecting images, a series of images, and I will tell you what is happening also, because I really want you feel like an astronomer this evening. What is happening here, friends? You know, there is the asteroid somewhere up in the sky, and I showed where. In the southern part of the sky in Italy, in the Hydra constellation, okay? I asked the telescope to point the expected position, and we know where the asteroid is because we know its orbit, and the same orbit making possible for us to say it will not hit us, by the way. Now the telescope is there, and I asked our electronic eye, our very sensitive digital camera, to take images back to back, while the telescope is tracking the asteroid, because the asteroid is moving, okay, around the sun, and seen from the Earth, it is moving across the stars. And image after image, a new image is coming every 20 seconds. I need 20 seconds. This is a long exposure. Many people doing photography out there, so you can understand the concept of a long exposure. You have to gather light for 20 seconds in this case to record these faint objects. The asteroid, by the way, it was not visible. It is not visible with the naked eye. You need a telescope, a small telescope at least. But image after image, if you look at the stars, look here, the stars are moving. They are slowly sliding on the upper left, while the asteroid is dead center, because the telescope is tracking the very peculiar motion of the asteroid. The telescope is tracking the peculiar motion of the asteroid, and the stars are left there, just sliding. And if you take a longer exposure, we will do while the sky is getting darker and darker, otherwise we will burn the exposure. We will try to see the benefit of this. Friends, this is the asteroid. I'm very proud and happy that at the very end, to so many people out there, the Virtual Telescope project is literally showing the beauty of this amazing experience. And I really hope that you are not worried. There were no reasons for this. We know a lot of asteroids. We have more than 500,000 orbits in the Minor Planet Center database, and we know about 20,000 asteroids we call near-Earth asteroids, because they are moving on orbits, bringing them in the proximity of the Earth. But I say the proximity of the Earth. I'm not telling you they are eating us. If I say I am coming with my car in your proximity, you are not believing that I'm going to crush you, okay? And we have, I say, 20,000, a bit more than 20,000 of these things. And if you look it better, you find that there is a subgroup that requires perhaps a bit more attention because they are funny, and we call them potentially hazardous asteroids. This is one of the most intriguing names ever used in science, and it is a very important name that we need to explain why we have our potentially hazardous asteroid in the very center of the crosshair. What is a potentially hazardous asteroid? Please consider that you have three words here: potentially hazardous asteroid. For some reason, people forget the first one. They just think to a hazardous asteroid. No, potentially hazardous asteroids. If you are an asteroid, in order to be considered a potentially hazardous asteroid, you need to answer two questions. Are you larger than 150 meters? If yes, I have another question. Are you coming closer to the Earth? Are you approaching the Earth closer than 7.5 million kilometers? If again you answer yes, so you have yes and yes to my questions, you deserve the potentially hazardous asteroid label. In other words, a potentially hazardous asteroid is an asteroid larger than 150 meters and coming closer than 7.5 million kilometers. That's all. I don't understand from where people from here people can fear that it is going to hit. It just means you are larger than something and coming closer than something, that you are very interesting, and I will keep an eye on you to better track you, to better follow up your future approaches. That's all. Potentially hazardous asteroids is something, collision is another thing. So please keep this in mind. And after all, collisions by themselves are not so bad in principle. I hope you have seen a shooting star, and after all, what a shooting star is, if not a collision between our planet through its atmosphere and a very small particle of interplanetary dust just jumping into the atmosphere. And image after image, while I see there is some turbulence, we are looking very low, just 20 degrees. Look at the bottom right in the screen, a lot of info on the screen. And there, the wind and also the clouds and also the turbulence. You know what turbulence is if you've been flying for a while, even if these very hard times are forcing us to stay at home, and we have to do this to win this battle. And while we are at home, just waiting to go back to normal life, we can enjoy the beauty of the night sky. And this asteroid is for me a resort, because it's a chance for us, the astronomers, to tell you what a near-Earth asteroid is and why there is nothing to be worried about. I want to show you, while the telescope is still doing its job, happy, finally the sky is clear, I want to show you another thing. Look here. If I plot all the asteroids I know, I have this result. Traffic, isn't it? This image is just showing you where all the known asteroids were when I decided to plot this diagram. No matter the day, you get back something similar. This is telling us that basically the largest fraction of asteroids is living in a very special region in the solar system between Mars and Jupiter orbits, and we call that region the asteroid belt, quite obviously, isn't it? And asteroids living there are really, interesting, because asteroids can tell a lot of things about the past of our solar system, because after all, our Earth, the planet where we live, was built by asteroids, collision after collision. But I want to say that asteroids living in the typical asteroid region between Mars and Jupiter are so far away that you will never think about them as a potential hazard, okay? But for several reasons, an asteroid can leave that region, particularly for the effects on the asteroid belt of the huge, the weight planet Jupiter, and cumulating the effects from Jupiter. This is just one source for the near-Earth asteroids. An asteroid living there can just be removed from the asteroid belt and perhaps can start moving on an orbit, bringing it in the inner solar system, where by chance the planet Earth is. This is why you see asteroids also in the inner solar system. You have the Sun in the center there, Mercury, Venus and the Earth, and you can see the Earth orbit, the Earth is still moving in a region where you have some dots, some asteroids, and we are lucky that we don't have the traffic you see from Mars to Jupiter. Just to show you where the asteroids are, and I hope this was something interesting to see. But we are back to this asteroid. You know, we had the closest approach with it a few hours ago, more or less 9 hours ago, and we know that this asteroid is quite large. People at Arecibo, using the radio telescope there, could refine our knowledge about the size. We know that it is about 2 kilometers, and it is also spinning, which is quite normal for asteroids. This is what asteroids do. It is spinning in 4 hours something. It takes a bit more than 4 hours for the asteroid to complete a rotation. Still, here it is the object, friends. This bright dot of light is the asteroid. Now I want to try to do something. Let's take a 1 minute exposure. So longer time, more time left for the asteroid to move, and as we are tracking it, I think that you will start seeing the trails in the stars, just making clear the asteroid motion, friends. Let's try, let's see. I was telling how huge the asteroid is, so it is quite huge, 2 kilometers, and but again, when it reached the minimum distance, more about 9 hours ago, it still was more than 6 million kilometers far away from us. Really, friends, there were no reasons at all. We have been saying this for months, but for some reason, many sources out there saying, be careful, be worried, just to attract traffic to their website. But as you can see, there are really nothing to do with any collision risk, friends. Let's see if the new image, here it is, friends. Now you understand, in 1 minute the asteroid is traveling, of course, and in 1 minute it moves a bit up there in the sky among the stars. The stars are much more farthest away, of course, but if you track the asteroid, the background is apparently moving, and I hope you appreciate this effect. I also want to remove for a while the crosshair, because now the aspect, the sharp dot of light, is telling you who is the asteroid, while trails are telling you who are the stars. And I hope you are appreciating this, because again, I want to tell you, all this is happening in real time, and the Virtual Telescope project has been around for 14 years now, bringing for free the sky to you, and you can contribute to our activity if you want, just donating whatever you want to our project. And if you support the Virtual Telescope by donation, we have a few things to give you: some digital exclusive images, and also access to another high definition version of this live feed anyway. I hope that you are having some good time with us while the asteroid is, as you can see, traveling so nicely. And you can see how beautiful the experience can be when you track an asteroid, because it gives you the chance to see that there are amazing rhythms in the sky. You are left with the impression that out there everything is fixed. Trust me when I say that you could be amazed to see how many things are moving, are just moving like crazy there. There are extreme rhythms. There are stars just spinning thousands of times per second, like the pulsar, for example, and there are asteroids coming close to us. And right now this object is moving more or less with a speed relative to the Earth of 8 kilometers per second. So, and from time to time there are some clouds. You can see every image is a bit different. You see more or less stars because you can have clouds just in that direction. But I was very happy that we could observe, we could capture this. I apologize for yesterday, but I told you we have no control on clouds, and I was sad to see people blaming us for that. Believe me, if I could control the cloud, I would have a telescope somewhere on another planet. I would be powerful enough to travel across the stars very lucky. So anyway, happy that at least tonight we had a chance to exploit the benefit of the Virtual Telescope project and enjoying all this, my friends. I see really a lot of people connecting, and I'm happy because it means that the beauty of the sky can still attract a lot of people. And I hope that from here you can really find the pleasure, you can discover the pleasure of astronomical observing. Please understand that most can be done with your own naked eye. Of course, you could not see this object because no matter what you have read around, this object it is still bright, relatively bright. If you have a 5 inches large telescope, you can try to observe it, provided you know where to look. And explaining you where it is, if you have no experience, is quite hard, so I will not try at all to tell. But in principle you can, but not with the naked eye. And of course it has to be clear. Here it is, our friends. Amazing. This image is telling us that we are observing a moving asteroid 1998 OR2 while it moves across the stars. By the way,